and our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Bomb with the new flesh.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
I'm a popped Mylar balloon, Mike.
And I'm Colton.
And we are Jill-less this evening. She didn't make her schedule correct and is being a dirtbag at an NFL game. You know what that means, guys. It means it's...
The boys!
Oh, God.
That's right.
Not the boys.
The boys are here to play.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to hear Mike's audio drop, but you know.
But there's lots of audio drops going off. But yeah, so, you know, if you're interested in Jill's opinions on the movie this evening, all that, just listen to the whole episode. I think she's going to record something and we'll tag it on towards the end there and see what she has to say, all that kind of stuff.
Now, do those little extra bits that we tag on at the end, do they actually factor into the rating for the movie on Letterboxd? Do you include that?
I think I usually, if it's like properly done, include it. But I see what you're saying here. Like, should they be excluded and shunned?
I should just start calling in on Mike picks and say, yeah, it's a hard nay from me, and give no more details. Just to crater the reviews on Letterboxd.
I think you should have just a pre-recorded it's a nay from me.
Yeah.
And then it just has that like Autobot like name switch for whatever the title of the movie is.
Yeah, that works.
Just like, I'm calling about.
Hi, this is Colton. It's going to be a nay from me.
I like this idea. We're just coming up with all the good ideas. But you know where we're going to start, what we've been consuming, what we've been watching, what we've been reading, what we've been listening to, all that good stuff. And Colton, you've been going on a little adventure. So yeah. I figure, why don't we start with you?
I'm not going to talk about a lot of what I've seen just because I was at the 50th Toronto International Film Festival and I happened to see 35 movies, 36 if we count The Conjuring Last Rites while I was there, which obviously wasn't at the festival. But I mean, you know, I have been busy. I was watching 3 or 4 movies a day. It was a good trip. Overall, I'd say the festival was a little bit more middling than I expected for its 50th year. A lot of the picks, like out of Cannes or out of Venice or Telluride, when I happened to watch them with all this kind of like critical hype and reception, I wound up coming out just being like, yeah, it was good, or it was okay. There was very few movies that I thought were great or among the best of the year. So I'll talk about a few of like the ones I enjoyed. I'll just start with the People's Choice winner. This was Hamnet. I don't know if Mike is familiar with the book or not. It's based on a Maggie O'Farrell novel, a historical fiction from 2020. Do you know if that book is respected at all? Or
I think it's now I could be wrong, but my impression is that I think of it as the Help of historical fiction.
Okay.
One that like I'm sure lots of people buy and think they're reading like high literature because it's a period piece and it's actually like souped up trash. I could be wrong, but that's the impression I get.
Yeah, I would say it definitely felt a little bit like a book club choice when I was watching the movie. Now, obviously, it's directed by Chloe Zhao, who won like Best Director there a couple of years ago. And it stars, oh my God, I wanted to say Margaret Qualley, but it's not. Oh, Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. And essentially, it's a historical fiction rendition of William Shakespeare's life and kind of what led up to inspiring his great work, Hamlet, which is my favorite of his plays. But going into the movie, it was the sort of thing where the movie was pitched in a very specific way, where I'm not going to divulge what that piece of information was, but even like the little blurb, like for TIFF, they'd give like one line about the movie. And, you know, all the people, when they were tweeting about it, they were divulging this one key piece of information and kind of talking about how sad the movie was because of this. So I went in expecting that to happen within the first 15 minutes or so, and learnt after about an hour and 40 minutes that this was the climax of the movie that everyone was spoiling and just talking about openly. So,
and you were waiting for it to happen the whole movie, obviously.
Yes, the whole movie. So the emotional kind of impact of that moment was definitely lost on me, just because I saw it coming from a mile away, because I literally thought it was going to be the opening of the movie. So what I have to say about it, it's a Chloe Zhao movie, so it's like beautifully photographed, like all the landscapes and natural life. She's really good at that. The actors that are playing William Shakespeare and his wife, I think Judith, I think her name might be, they're both great, and you know, they've been consistently great in pretty much everything I've seen. So they're not going to surprise there. The movie overall, I think, is very good. It's just the last probably 20 minutes after that climax, it does kind of just become an adaptation of Hamlet. And you see it on kind of like the Globe Theater, and there's obviously a little bit more of an emotional payoff to certain lines or certain performances of that play. But I've also seen adaptations of Hamlet now, a dozen times. So the movie overall, to me, I thought was very good. It was definitely one of the better things I saw at the festival, but I really wish people weren't just openly spoiling what the movie was about. And maybe it's even like the first line of the book. I don't know, but I was kind of pissed off that I sat there for an hour and 45 minutes waiting for, basically the climax of the movie that I knew before going in. So I did enjoy it overall. It's definitely a lot better than Eternals, which is the other Chloe Zhao movie I've seen, or Nomadland, which I just kind of remember as Frances McDormand just shitting in like a 5-gallon bucket, on like, which
literally?
Everybody yeah, literally.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in like a motorhome. I think she gets fired at working at an Amazon facility, and she just kind of goes on the road, and she's like living in an RV, and that's basically what the movie's about. Her.
I thought it was a metaphor, and so from now on, when I want to like drag something, I'm going to say it's shitting in a 5-gallon bucket.
To be fair, I don't think that's like too uncharitable of a review of that movie. I'm not a big fan of Nomadland, but everybody loved it in 2020. So I thought this was very good. It's just I wish it wasn't spoiled for me.
I have to say, I thought you were going to be very negative about it, because I have seen one review of it that someone posted online, and it was an absolute murder. Like, it was machete, like assault rifle, like.
Yeah, and to be fair,
and I actually read most of it, and I was like, oh my god.
To be fair, I think this is like one of the most like critically revered movies of the year, but it's just most of those movies this year didn't work for me at all. This was one of the few ones that did work for me. My friend who I saw something like 20 or 25 of the movies at the fest with, he hated this. He said it was, one of the worst movies he saw at the festival. So it's kind of, watch it, make up your own mind. For me, I thought it was good. It was definitely the best I've seen of Chloe Zhao movies, but I'm just not a very big fan of her to begin with. Changing gears quite drastically, just for like fans of this podcast, the only real like horror movie I saw at the festival was Obsession, and that's I think it's Curry Barker, his name.
Yeah,
it's of Milk and Cereal fame. I probably discussed that earlier this year on the podcast. It was a 40-minute YouTube short that kind of went viral, and I saw it doing the rounds on Bloody Disgusting and that sort of thing. And Obsession is his feature directorial debut. And what I thought was cute was basically it uses a lot of the people that is in all of his shorts, and that he's made kind of this burgeoning career out of shooting kind of these short films with his friends. But also it's just actually a pretty competent feature horror film. Its premise is essentially in a small, like close-knit friend group. Someone's crushing on this girl for 2 years. So they're essentially like, confess your love to her and like get your answer because you're driving us all crazy. So essentially the moment comes where he can confess his love for her, and kind of passes, and he kind of screws it up. So he winds up finding a little kind of trinket at an old antique store called a One Wish Willow. And basically he makes a wish of, he wished this girl loved him more than anybody else in the world. And the wish happens to come true, and then it's all of the horrors of someone being completely and hopelessly obsessed with you, and absolutely ruining their life and ruining your life, and it kind of goes from there. It's very much just a be careful what you wish for, but kind of with like a modern, slant on it. and has some really good performances of sort of like outside somebody's doing something, but you can see inside kind of behind their eyes, they're not enjoying what they're having to do. Almost similar to Get Out in that way. There was that one actor in Get Out who I think is kind of like the housekeeper, who's the grandmother. Yeah. That one scene where she's saying no, but she's smiling and like crying. Like there's some good performances in the movie where it's kind of like what they're saying is betraying what's on their face. So there was some interesting stuff there. And then also just I just really like this filmmaker's kind of vibe. He feels very much like in tune with what he's doing. He's very competent or confident in what he's putting on screen. And this was just a really fun horror movie. Like I could definitely see like someone like an A24 picking it up just because it would do well with kind of like that demographic that really liked.
Someone did pick it up because I saw.
Oh, did they?
Last week, like big time. I saw he got like a huge. He sold it for over $15 million.
Oh my god.
Okay, so it doesn't say the studio or whatnot there, but this is the sort of movie that I could see being very popular with the same demographic that really like talked to me a couple years ago, because it seems like it's kind of targeted at that age group. And very much like
I'm so excited for
that
it.
demographic. Yeah, so I thought it was really good. I mean, it's what I told you is basically the pitch, and that's the whole movie, and it goes to the ends of what you can do with that premise, and it's pretty bleak and harrowing, and I enjoyed it. It was definitely easily the best like genre or horror thing I saw at the festival. The next thing I saw that I really enjoyed was the new Knives Out movie, Wake Up Dead Man, which I was shocked that I enjoyed this just because Glass Onion was kind of offensive to me a few years ago when we watched it. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but it was very much based in the COVID era. And it was also like, let's go to a billionaire's island. And it was like a murder mystery on this billionaire's island, shortly after the Epstein stuff. So everything about that movie I just found like kind of offensive, or to me, like just I didn't really want to watch a movie with these sorts of out of touch people. This one is a little bit more back to kind of basics, where it's in a small town, and basically what happens is you're following Josh O'Connor. He's the new priest in town, and essentially there is a murder at this small parish that he is just kind of meeting everybody and getting into the town and basically uncovering everybody's dirty laundry. And then there's this obviously elaborate cast of probably a dozen or so characters, and it's just basically a whodunit. Obviously everyone has all this dirty laundry, everyone has reasons they'd want to kill each other, and then Daniel Craig kind of swoops in an hour into the movie and starts unraveling the mystery, and it's just a lot of fun. I thought it just brought it back to kind of basics with what I enjoyed with the original Knives Out. There's obviously some social commentary and political commentary in there, and obviously commentary on religion, but it was just at its core a good murder mystery with a bunch of good actors. That was just fun to watch. Like Josh O'Connor is absolutely amazing in the movie, and obviously Daniel Craig is always great. But I just thought it was like a return to form, and it's basically, in my opinion, pretty much just as good as the first Knives Out. I thought it was great, other than I kind of guessed some parts of the murder mystery before it was unveiled. You'd never guess everything, but I just think the movie was a little bit heavy-handed in some aspects where it definitely like tips its hat a little bit. You could probably figure out some of the the broad strokes, but very, very enjoyable. And then the last thing I saw that I won't waste any more time going over what I saw at TIFF was my favorite thing at the festival, which is No Other Choice. It's Park Chan-wook's new movie. South Korean director. God, what did he direct in recent memory? I mean, obviously back in the day, he directed Old Boy, directed The Handmaiden. There was one a couple years ago that I forget everybody loved that I was a little bit more mixed on, but No Other Choice was like a return to form for me. It's like social satire, I guess. It's basically follows a guy who he worked in a paper mill for 25 years, and he loses his job due to automation and AI coming in, just, basically cleaning house. So he winds up having to apply for other jobs in the paper industry, but realizes that all the guys that lost their jobs with him are also going to be applying. So he kind of goes through their resume, sees that there's 4 or 5 that might be better than him, and he comes up with that there's no other choice for him to get this job other than kill them off. So it winds up being, social satire with a little bit of murder, lots of black comedy, some thriller aspects, will they get away with it? And it's just kind of like what South Korean cinema does best, which is this genre mashup and kind of like mixing everything as you go along. And just arriving at this conclusion that you never would have expected when you went into the movie. And but it feels so masterfully done the whole time that it's just like, oh, okay, obvious that's where it was going. Super enjoyable. I think it won the best international feature at TIFF. At some of the other earlier festivals, people were a little bit more mixed on it, but I honestly don't know how you could be. It was just such a good movie. I enjoyed it all the way through. It was easily the best thing I saw at the festival, so I would recommend pretty much everyone check out No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. I don't think it's coming out until probably December or something like that, but it was great. Definitely worth watching. Now, Mike, I've seen you've been logging a shitload of movies lately. So how about you tell us what you've been consuming lately?
I've logged a few things, yep.
Yeah.
Listen, one of them was a short, so I'm barely counting that.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm proud to tell you the truth. It's just when I see it, I'm like, man, Mike is putting me to shame, and I'm at a fucking film festival, basically.
Listen, I'm really trying to, watch movies with more regularity than I have been doing for the last 7-8 years, and I'm trying to remember to log them. Especially if I watch 2 in one night and I start watching the second one and I'm out somewhere or got people over or whatever, I'll forget about it, and then a week later go, fuck, I never did log that. So the first thing that I saw after we recorded our Curtains episode was it was actually really cool because it's the 40th anniversary of one of the great teen movies of all time, The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah.
1985. So our chain cinema, as anybody who's Canadian knows, never gets these things. But we did get it, and we got it here at our particular location, which I was shocked by. So nice. I went to see that on a Tuesday evening, and they don't do a very good job of advertising when they do these anniversary screenings. They did Clueless a couple months ago, and there was no poster outside of the cinema. It always shows what's playing inside. It was literally just an empty frame.
One of my biggest complaints, that if you're Canadian, I guess you'd know this, but is in the Cineplex app, there used to be a whole section that when you were when you open the app, it would be it'd be under event cinema where they always have the opera and stuff, but they would always list old movies showing and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah.
And they've actually gotten rid of that, so the event cinema is now only
concerts and opera and stuff.
Concerts and stuff. So the only way to find out is to go in the movie section of the app that just has every movie they've essentially played in 2025, and you just gotta scroll through it. And if it's too far ahead, of course, it doesn't list anything when it's gonna be playing or in your area or anything. It's
really awful. Unless you're hardcore like that and just going in and checking all the time, you'd literally never know that these were happening. But I don't know, I think it was maybe half full, probably. I did tell a lot of people about it, that I was like, oh, you like John Hughes movies, FYI, they're playing it 3 times. So we went, and there was kind of the expected assortment of people. It was mostly people who were over the age of 30 who grew up watching it on TV and stuff like that. But there was definitely a percentage of youngsters who were probably teenagers or in their early 20s. And I feel it did not sit well with a lot of the younger kids, because as everybody who will tell, when they're romanticizing the 80s and the 90s, and people who were alive then are always it was not like this. You were getting called slurs and shit. And that's what happens in this movie. They drop, the R word and the F slur and all this other shit. And it's decidedly, from today's lens, not politically correct, but also at the time you would have just been oh yeah, this is literally what school would have been if you're not getting called ableist slurs, then you're not going to a public school, essentially.
It's fun. Really interesting. It's really interesting when a modern movie actually adapts the time frame correctly nowadays, because there was a movie a few years ago called Mid-90s, and it was set in the mid-90s in skater culture, and they were calling each other the R word the entire movie. Right? It must be in there 30 times. But I saw a lot of people basically dog on the movie just because they were so offended by that ableist terminology, right? So it is definitely a balancing act nowadays. Some people will just hate your movie if you are adapting it correctly like that.
Yeah, it's literally, that's what it was like. These are the words that you were... I'm not, like, excusing it, obviously. It's jarring when you're like, I hadn't watched it in probably 10 years or more. And I was like, I forgot they say some of this stuff. But, like, also it's like, you know, that's unfortunately what teenagers were saying back in those days. So, you know, watch out, you teenagers that were at that movie, because when you go to whatever, I don't even know if you have movies that are going to, like, be iconic enough to be shown in 40 years. But if you do, you're going to be cringing at them, trust me. So learn to enjoy it. So I watched a couple of old movies. One was actually quite old. It was 1940, and I had found out about this movie in Michael Koreski's new book, which was about, like, we talked about it when Willow was on last, about the, like, pre-Code and Hays Code era, like, Hollywood movies, and how they were kind of, like, dancing around, like, you know, deviance and, like, homosexuality and stuff like that. And this was one of the, like, premier female directors of that time, Dorothy Arzner. And so she directed this one called Dance Girl Dance, and it stars Lucille Ball. And it's just about these, like, two girls who are, like, dancers, and one of them, who is played by Lucille Ball, kind of, like, finds a sugar daddy who, like, gives her an opportunity, and she, like, kind of moves to the big city and, you know, starts dancing at this, like, cabaret and doing burlesque, and, like, she becomes famous, and so she, like, gets her friend to come who's, like, a ballet dancer and, like, be part of her act. And it's just about, like, you know, their kind of, like, shifting dynamics, and it's just beautiful. There's, like, lots of great music and dance in it, and Lucille Ball is, like, actually a force of nature, and it's really good. It's on Prime. So if you still have Prime and haven't gotten rid of it, is there any streaming service you can't get rid of these days? Definitely check it out. On our shitty Tubi night, you know I love those. We watched this one called Beverly Hills Madam, starring Faye Dunaway, and it's literally exactly what you think it is. It's like Faye Dunaway is a madam in Beverly Hills, and it's just about the, like, ins and outs of her having her, like, stable of sex workers. And it's fine. It's fine. If you like those 80s TV movies, you know I'm into them. That one's definitely worth checking out. I also showed my friend for the first time one of my favorite Bette Midler slapstick comedies and Danny DeVito from the 80s, and it's called Ruthless People. I feel like, Ro, you might have seen that before.
I don't know if I have.
It's about, okay, I'll just, like, explain it quickly. It's Danny DeVito is a millionaire who quote unquote invented the spandex miniskirt. And this was like 1986. So that was when, like, spandex was, like, huge and just starting out. And his wife is, you know, a loud broad played by Bette Midler, and she gets kidnapped by two people who keep her in the basement, and they're trying to extort, because they were actually the real inventors of it, and he shafted them, and so they're like kidnapping her and trying to extort money from him, but he actually wanted her dead anyway, so he just, like, keeps fucking up, like, oh geez, I couldn't get the money, or, like, you know, but, like, it turns out that they're actually nice, and she, like, you know, starts working out there and becomes, like, friends with her kidnappers, and so they, like, counter plot against him, and it's such a fun, like, slapstick black comedy. It's got a great soundtrack. Bette Midler is amazing. Danny DeVito is always great. That one's also on Tubi, so definitely check that out. I'll just quickly say two notable ones that are specifically horror. So I rewatched one of my favorite movies from when I was a child, and that is the 1993 Abel Ferrara remake of Body Snatchers. Well, Invasion of Body Snatchers, but his is just titled Body Snatchers. It is such a fucking banger. I was afraid that it was not going to hold up, but I mean, honestly, like, a lot of people think that it's the worst of the Body Snatchers movies, but I kind of think it might be low-key the best, because he kind of, like, pares it down into, like, the core essence.
What year was that?
1993.
93, yeah.
Yeah, this one, they, I mean, it's sort of, like, more blunt and hit you over the head with its metaphor, because they transplant it from the city onto an army base, which is fun because, you know, obviously the army is, like, literally conformist by nature, so Meg Tilly gives, you know, one of the great performances of all time. And Abel Ferrara, I'm always watching Abel Ferrara movies lately. I think he's just, like, such a fucking king. I love him. Anyway, yeah, check that out if you haven't watched it recently, because it's a banger. And the last thing I watched was, as Colton, I'm sure, was like, finally, was Weapons.
Yes,
I've been waiting to see this for weeks. Well, for months, really, but, like...
You're waiting for it to hit streaming, were you?
Well, no, I really wanted to see it in theaters, but it just kept not working out.
Gotcha.
The day I was gonna go see it was the one day that the Breakfast Club was playing, so I had to choose between a one-off screening or Weapons, and I kind of figured like, oh, I'll get to see Weapons at some point. But yeah, it did hit streaming, and so my friend was like, let's watch it. And so I said, fuck it, let's do it. And I loved it, of course. Loved it. What a cast.
Mm-hmm.
Love the cast. It's beautifully shot. I love a good witch trope. Barbarian, I think is so overrated. I know it's everybody's favorite, but when I went to see it in theaters, it was like the bar was really high because I hadn't gotten to see a movie for like 8 or 9 months or something. And I just was like, I found the last half hour to be like, what the fuck? And I think that's what a lot of people liked about it because they pull the rug out from under you. But I just for me personally, it didn't work. Maybe part of it was like the kind of like grotesque feminine thing. This also does the grotesque feminine thing, but to me, it's sort of like makes more sense because they're using like a witch plot. And, historically, witches are using glamour. Except she doesn't use glamour because she has wigs and bad makeup, but we won't go there.
She's definitely
I just thought this worked
in a certain way, but...
Yeah. I thought this worked so much better than Barbarian. So,
I agree with
sue
you, by
me.
the way. Yeah, I agree. I'm more of a Weapons fan.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the structure of it was really well done. I just thought the writing was great. I feel like Barbarian, he was kind of sharpening his teeth, and this was really the movie that he was meant to make.
You can connect the dots where Barbarian kind of has the 2, maybe 3 distinct narratives.
Yeah.
You get the weapons and there's 5 or 6 of them, and just a lot more entangled and kind of seeing different points of view. It's just a little bit more complex of a narrative for sure. Weapons.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I said to my friend,
done well.
Complimentary. I was like, it is kind of giving a little bit of the days when every movie was trying to be Pulp Fiction and doing that thing where it takes 5 different plot threads and then eventually pulls them together. And I meant that as a compliment because that's personally one of my favorite narrative tropes in a screenplay.
I gotta watch
if it's
it
done
again,
well for sure.
Because I said when we talked about it for Now Slain, I feel like maybe after I see it 1 or 2 more times, it'll overtake Barbarian for me. Because I can't deny the filmmaking is really good in it.
Yeah.
It's just at that moment I was I just really I think it was just a vibe. When I was in Barbarian, I went to Halifax to see it. The theater was packed. It was a full house.
Yeah.
People were screaming and hollering, and it was just a vibe where when I saw Weapons, there was only 10 people there and nobody really said much. So
that's fair. That totally affects your
I do gotta see it again,
perception. Yeah. Well, it's funny because my friend that came over to watch it with me, I was waiting for it to hit streaming because I was I know I'm probably not going to get to the theater. And he texted me Thursday and was like, have you seen this yet? You've seen this, right? You've obviously seen this. You're a horror movie guy. And I was like, no, I haven't. I've been meaning to get out for the last 3 weeks. And he was like, oh, I watched it and you're going to love it. And we're getting together and watching it. And so I was like, okay, let's do it tomorrow. So he watched it twice in a day and a half.
I did that too. I watched it twice in 3 days because I watched it by myself for the show, and then family was in town, and my stepdad.
Oh, that's right. That was when your parents were in.
Yeah. So I literally watched it, I think, Thursday night, the very first screening, and then rewatched it Sunday afternoon or something. So it is one that just holds up as well because you can just watch for all the little things you may have missed just with that once again, that overlapping narrative, right?
Yeah, there's definitely little Easter eggs and stuff too that I just feel he packed a lot of detail into it. It seems really spare sometimes, but and I just have to say the one thing that annoyed me about it was the criminal underuse of Ms. June Diane Raphael. I kept waiting the whole movie for it to circle back and give her a full narrative moment, and she did not get that, but it's fine. The 4 minutes that she was in this movie, she ate it up. So I'm mad, but I'm not too mad.
That's why you need a 4. Would have been 5.
It would have been 5 if it wasn't for the underuse of June Diane Raphael.
That's
but
fair.
It's not the homophobic underuse of Monica Bellucci in that awful Beetlejuice sequel. So, and I heard that when they reboot Resident Evil again, that he is going to be doing it. So I'm actually super excited about that because he's very talented. Yeah, it'll be nice to have an auteur doing something with that, and hopefully they'll hew closer to the like horror aspect of the games.
Yeah, let's not do old Mila Jovovich coming back.
No, and I love
let's
her,
move
but
away.
listen, let's time to move on. Cut the umbilical cord. What have you been up to?
It's really a shame that Jill's on here because I did finally actually finish that Bloom book. So, and I just wanted to, I keep teasing her, I keep texting her being like, it was kind of mid. Me and Exilia read it together. We did like a little book club and we both thought it was mid. So I don't know how I feel about Jill's book recommendations anymore.
All you have to do is listen to Jill talk about the book she reads on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you should question her book recommendations. I'm sorry, Jill.
But yeah, so I have watched some stuff. So TV wise, I think I'm only an episode behind right now, the one that came out this week, but I'm pretty much caught up on Alien Earth. And I've been really enjoying that. I feel like it's very divisive. It's more divisive than I thought it was. I thought everyone seemed to like it, but the more I see about it, it seems that as it's gone on, people have been a little more not really into it. I heard it's not getting renewed, that they're just not going to do anything with it. Or the rumor mills.
Interesting. The couple of friends that I know watching it have preferred the last couple episodes. They thought it was better than the first 3 or 4. I'm 2 episodes behind right now, so
I really like it. Now, I am a little bullish. See, I like the first couple episodes because there's a lot of xenomorph in it, where the rest of the show, they're like trying to introduce a lot of like, different alien life forms. Yeah. Which, like, I'm like, that's cool, but I don't really care. Like, I just want a xenomorph to kill people. But I do like it. I think it's...
You can't sustain a TV show where the xenomorph appears for 5 minutes to kill someone for 10 episodes.
I know. I do really like it, though. Like, I think there's not much else you could really ask for like a TV show, an alien TV show. I think like all the actors in it are really good. And of course me, like I'm a like artificial intelligence android sucker, like anything about that kind of stuff, and where this is really focused on that, like the synthetic part of the universe, I really do enjoy that. So, hopefully I had just heard they weren't going to renew it because it's insanely expensive to make.
Oh, and yeah, it looks expensive.
Yeah, which, looks fantastic. I love it. So, yeah, and unfortunately, just to get this out of the way for Nicholas, I dropped the ball again on X-Files. I haven't watched any X-Files, so sorry, Nicholas. Let's talk about, I guess, the 2 kind of like event things I did since last time we talked. So, TerraVision had their viewing of the original Child's Play. So we went to that, and it was fantastic.
Wait, did you know? I'm trying to remember, because I remember you were like wanting to know the next TerraVision movie when he was unable to make it that time. Was this the one?
No. We had already promoted this, I think, for a month for him. So I'll talk at the end of the episode. I already know what the next one is and all that good stuff. But this was good. We obviously reviewed this like 2 years ago or something. And it's one of those.
I think it was for the 5-year anniversary, wasn't it? Yeah.
I actually went back and was looking at like old episodes, just movies we have done, and it's really funny that I've just, when it comes to the podcast, I have no track of time, because I'm like, that movie from like a year ago, and it'll be like Sick from the middle of COVID, and I'm like, that was actually a long time ago now.
Sometimes somebody will ask me, have you done blah 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 movie? And I'm like, yeah, and then I say to you, like, remember when we did that? And you're like, we've never done that.
Yeah, it just...
It's just in my head, it feels like something we had a discussion about.
This is one that I always think's interesting because, Chucky's like so predominant in the horror culture, but I feel like this is like the least talked about film of it. Like it's always like Bride of Chucky or, like that kind of thing. Like I know there's a lot of big fans of like 2 and 3, and
2 is my favorite.
I've seen 1 a bunch, but I never like overly remember it for some reason. But every time I see it, I'm like, wow, this is actually like really good. And I believe when we reviewed it, we all all were like, this is actually pretty good. And on the big screen, it's just as good. It was really interesting. They had an interview with like one of the guys that created the Chucky doll and like worked on it and puppeteered it. So it was kind of cool. Just, hearing his stories, and also just, I feel like everybody, especially back then, like he's talking about how everything they do with Child's Play, like when they were done with it, they just destroyed everything.
Oh my God.
So he just talks about, he's like, if I had literally just kept that stuff, I could have just sold it all and retired. Like, but he's like, no one thought about that in the 80s. Like, they were just like, you're going to put this movie out, and back then he's like, you didn't even know if it was going to be on like a home video or something. So you just didn't care. But yeah, it was a great time. So I had this whole elaborate plan. In Halifax, they had the Atlantic International Film Festival the last 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. I had to list all movies, the times they were playing. Then, of course, the kid's starting school and she's got all this stuff going on. I got to take her too. So none of that worked out. But I did manage to go see the 10th anniversary showing of Closet Monster.
Yes.
Stephen Dunn was in attendance, and
my coworker.
Yeah, your coworker. I made sure to point it out to him. I was talking to him before the show and after the show, and he's like, "Oh my God, he's on the podcast!" And I'm like, "Yes, please listen to this episode where he says your show sucks." No, he doesn't say that, but yeah, no. So it was good seeing Steve. Talking to him, and we were talking about that we must at some point. He's like, I have to come on and have some drinks, get drunk, and talk about bad 80s horror movie or something. And I was like, yes, we will plan something. But
a king among kings.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The showing was packed. It was almost sold. I say it's almost sold out. It was actually a free showing, so you didn't have to pay. It's kind of cool. Like, a lot of people bringing their kids and stuff to see it. We brought our kid to go see it, and she ended up really liking it. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was, they're not my stories to tell, but he was telling lots of stories about making it, and like even things going on in his life right now that was really like, interesting. That because I know this is showing in like Toronto, I think this week also for a 10th anniversary showing. And so he was
where's our 10th anniversary showing?
Really? Well,
hometown boy, we get nothing.
We were telling him when we were talking to him that in our bedroom we have a poster when it first came out that we stole from Munn. That's just what we still have. It's just like a little 8x11 poster they printed.
And I still have the one that you stole from me.
Oh, there we go.
From the university. I was like, steal me one too.
And I mean, most of the time I spent there was just me asking him, how the hell can we get the soundtrack on vinyl? I was like, what's going on here? He didn't know that people like the soundtrack. He was like,
what?
I was like, there's playlists. I was like, there's playlists on Spotify, multiple. And he was like, oh, I don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music. So I don't see that. And I was like, so I sent him some links. He was like, send me links. And he was like, I've actually had companies approach me. And he was like, we've never done anything about it. So
everybody I know who watches this movie is like, I'm obsessed with the soundtrack. And I was like, he rated my iTunes library circa 2007.
Yeah, it's so good. I finally got to see The Naked Gun, which I was very apprehensive about, and I ended up really enjoying. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty funny. I was laughing throughout it. Liam Neeson has like like a different, obviously like kind of a different comedic style than the originals, but it really works. I think just like how straight he plays everything was fantastic. And yeah, I'm happy to report that it was good. I was very worried about that. I rewatched Point Break. Just was at work. My new movie guy at work, basically, when he's on nights with me, I'm like, what's your list of movies you need to see? And that was on his list. And I was like, how am I not going to say no to Point Break? Just, it's awesome.
It's a banger. Excellent soundtrack. Oh my God. Speaking of great soundtracks.
Yeah, really. What else did I watch? I watched the the new Netflix documentary on Devo. A fan of their music, but I didn't know really anything about the band. So I kind of enjoyed this. They don't go in depth about like a lot, but it's kind of interesting. Like, I didn't know that Devo kind of started as like this artist collective, and they had no interest in being a band or anything. Like, it was literally like they wanted to kind of be like Andy Warhol type guys. And
yeah, a factory.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it was a good time. There's not a lot to say. It's a Devo documentary if you like Devo. I got to see Spike Lee's new movie, Highest to Lowest. That's like a Apple movie original. I've never seen the Kurosawa Highest to Lowest. It's on my list now, so I have a reference point. I thought this was pretty good. I can see a lot of people not liking this. It is kind of weird, even for Spike Lee, where it's almost like that TV show that used to be on called Empire with Terrence Howard. Like, it's a movie about like hip hop executives, and the music's all right in it. Like, it's very soap opera-ish. And I know the Kurosawa version is like very, very highly regarded. The big standout in this was A$AP Rocky is in this. He's kind of like the villain in it, but I guess not really. But he's really good in this. He kind of he plays like a kidnapper that's just like on hard times. It's an up-and-coming hip-hop artist, and, you know, I really liked it. And Denzel, you can't really go wrong with Denzel. Denzel's just doing Denzel-type things. I got, finally, a chance to see The Artifice Girl, because I didn't watch it when it came out.
Oh, okay.
And I really like this, and I really liked it because it was nothing that I expected. I think I had in my mind of what it was going to kind of be like, and I wasn't expecting it to be kind of this like chamber piece.
Yep.
And like
single location, just sci-fi.
Single location, like super low budget. I thought like it was going to be a little higher budget, but I really, really liked it. Like, I thought everyone in it was really good. It raises like some really interesting conversations and questions. I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of that had to do with like that surprise. I was like, oh, wait a second. Like, this isn't going to be like some sci-fi artificial intelligence epic or something. It's just like people talking about, you know, morals of artificial intelligence. So other than that, I saw him. Maybe we'll talk about that for Nastlane. We'll find out. We'll
see.
We'll find out if anyone else sees it.
To tell you the truth, we were supposed to have already recorded our episode on it, but all of the critical reception for it has been so bad that I just didn't want to spend the time this weekend going to see it. So maybe sometime this coming week I'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out, and I'm sure if we don't talk about it now, we'll talk about it at some point later, maybe at the end of the year. So my last two films that I watched were Tubi watches. I'm kind of on my Mike train lately of my Tubi watches.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, so first I watched Body of Evidence, which is like the cast is like a banger. It's this erotic thriller from 93 with Willem Dafoe, Madonna, Julianne Moore. I don't know. Yeah, watch this movie if you just want to watch Madonna nude banging guys for 2 hours. Like, Madonna is like, this is just like how long can you sustain looking at Madonna nude? It's like a test of strength.
And I just have to say, I love this era for her. The early 90s era is my favorite Madonna by like a yard. And what other pop star? Like, she was the biggest pop star in the world at the time, and I cannot think of any pop star in the decades since who would be willing to do something like this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's very, you know, it's Madonna not only new, but just having like very kinky sex. You know, if you know, Willem Dafoe is getting candle wax poured on his dick in this, and
you're obsessed with that. I know that you rewound that 3 or 4 times.
I just think it's interesting. A good double feature for this would be Antichrist.
Oh my god, not the Willem Dafoe sex movie.
The Willem Dafoe dick double feature.
Yeah.
Extreme.
I know, I love how I just called Antichrist a sex movie.
I considered picking that for this episode.
Oh, no way.
Man.
Yeah.
Colton's just like, I wanted to actually torture you people.
I thought this was pretty good. I mean, like, when you find a pretty decent, for like 2 a.m, Tubi movie watch, especially with like this caliber of actors, it's pretty good. I really like this for erotic thrillers. And then kind of to top off, my recent erotic thriller watching, I watched Fatal Instinct from 1993, which is the Naked Gun of erotic thrillers.
I love that movie. Sean Young.
Yeah, Sean Young's in it. It's directed by Carl Reiner, who's like, an infamous like kind of 70s, 80s comedy director. Mm-hmm. And it's literally that. It's literally the Naked Gun of erotic thrillers. It's just like a joke per minute type of movie. Like,
it was kind of like Scary Movie, but before Scary Movie and for erotic thrillers.
Yeah, so, I thought it was pretty good. Like, all the stuff kind of making me laugh. What's his name there? Witherspoon, the dad from Friday. He's in it also. He's super funny in it. Like, yeah, there's just a lot of great performances in this. Sean Young's fantastic. It's good. I really liked it. And, that's all I've been watching. So with that, why don't we get into the film? Colton, it was your pick, so why don't you let people know what we're watching, why you chose it?
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be discussing Nope, which I'm not really 100% sure how I came to choosing this. I think it was probably a mixture of the marketing around him, where it's, from producer Jordan Peele plastered across that movie for the last couple of months, and then that added news where his next feature, his fourth feature, has been removed from the Universal release window, so it's probably 2 or 3 years away. I think it was just it was on my mind. And also originally when I was supposed to pick something, it was going to be right at the end of summer. And Nope is one of those movies that in my head, it's very much like a summer blockbuster movie. So I think that was kind of like all of this coming together, that this was on my mind. And then it was just it's been a while since I've been on the podcast. I just wanted to come back to the show and choose something that I know that I enjoy, but also that I was hoping that all of us would enjoy, and that I just genuinely didn't know where Jill and Mike stood on the movie or if they've seen it. So I was just looking forward to all of us having an opinion on it, other than Rowan and I from the Now Slang a few years ago. So I guess we'll have to do it again in a couple of years, so then Jill can chime in on it. But I'm looking forward to discussing it. So let's get into Nope.
So with that, let's get into the trailer, and we'll be back with the synopsis and first experiences.
What's a bad miracle? They got a word for that?
Yeah, nah.
Nope was written and directed by Jordan Peele, and the story is as follows. Following the sudden death of their father, a brother and sister discover something sinister in the skies above their family's California horse ranch. Once faced with the reality of losing their family business, they turn to their history in Hollywood and concoct a plan to capture video evidence of this phenomena before the owner of a nearby theme park capitalizes on the spectacle all for himself.
So, first experiences, is this our first time seeing it, or do you like Jordan Peele, unlike Jill, who made sure she missed this episode? Jill's thoughts on race relations, we won't talk about that. We'll let her speak for herself.
Jill's response when we asked her if she was going to be on this episode was also, nope.
Oh. So, you kind of talk, Colton. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, or are we?
I mean, obviously, we covered it. Weirdly enough, it's been 3 years since we covered it. And I think when we reviewed this, it was literally my first or second week in the film business at all. So the little, touch points of film history or filmmaking in this movie really resonated with me at the time. So it's interesting. I've seen it, I think, 2 or 3 other times, other than, rewatching for the podcast. But yeah, I just didn't realize 3 years had already passed since Nope came out. It still felt like a relatively recent pick for me to choose. So when I checked the dates, I was like, oh, never mind. It's not quite as egregious that I choose it for the main show. But obviously I've seen it before. Mike, I genuinely don't know. Have you seen it before?
Once. It was after you guys recorded the Now Slaying on it. I thought I was like super late because by the time it like came out on digital and stuff and I procured it, shall we say, nobody was like talking about it or anything anymore, and I just kind of like watched it and moved on.
Fair enough.
Honestly. That's it, unfortunately. Bro, you've seen this like 80 times, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like Colton said, we obviously did it for Now Slaying when it came out, and I've seen this, I think, only one other time. I saw it with Exilia, because I did go to the IMAX theater to see this opening. I think it was like the Thursday, like early opening with Exilia, and Exilia fell asleep before the movie started, and she literally like left and went to the car and just slept the entire time and was like, just
insane.
Come out to the car when it's done. So, but she did want to see it. In fairness, she was still working nights, and I think she had just gotten off a night and was tired. So, I bought the 4K, and when it came out, Exilia was like, I still want to see it. So we did watch it in 4K. That's the only time I've seen it. With that, let's set up the cameras and get ready to shoot the... I don't know. I don't have anything witty for this one. I'm sorry, guys.
You were on the right track using the word shoot, though.
Yeah.
Because this is the hottest cast ever, and just speaking of shooting, wads. Oop.
Oh, God.
I mean, if you automatically want me to start off hot here, I think I said the same thing in the Now Slaying episode. I am not a Keke Palmer guy. And,
oh my God, get out of my face.
And in this watch, I still don't like her in this. She's just...
Oh my God.
I quit.
I'm sorry. I think she's doing her job. I think she is portraying the character as it's supposed to be portrayed. I don't know what it is. There's just like something that bugs me about Keke Palmer.
It's insane that that's your take, just because my note is that Keke Palmer's entrance in this movie is basically legendary at this point.
Yes,
I remember.
My note was Keke is electric. All capitals, 3 exclamation points.
I remember it was like a pinnacle of the marketing for the movie. We heard the trailer. Oh, there's another great, or that basically. It's been like, we've always had skin in the game. I remember like that note from the trailer. I heard it probably dozens of times leading up to the release of this movie. So when the movie actually starts and she comes in within the first 5 minutes or so, it is just, she is electric. She's like a polar opposite of Daniel Kaluuya in this movie. And she is doing a very over the top, like showy performance. She's very like boisterous in the movie, but I think they balance each other like perfectly. I love her in this movie. She's so good.
I just think the character.
Bro, defend yourself.
I don't really have a defense. It's nothing against her. Like, I mean, it kind of is. I guess,
except you don't like her. So
I don't know what it is. Like every time I see her in something, I'm just not. It doesn't do anything for me. This character.
Did you watch Scream Queens?
Yeah,
oh my God.
I was
like, you obviously never watched
it doesn't
Scream
help because I get like just this character really like grates on my nerves, and I think it's super annoying, and I know she's like kind of supposed to be, and I get like the sibling interaction. Like I have siblings, I get it, and maybe it's just like I'm like, oh my God, like I've had annoying siblings, so maybe I don't know.
I think that she plays it so well, and the energy that she brings in the movie is so infectious that. Yeah. For me, it's like impossible not to like her. I can understand why it could be grating, but I think like once again, it is because that OJ, Daniel Kaluuya's character in the movie, is so subdued and so almost like catatonic for the entire movie. And obviously that's a very deliberate choice where he's very insular in the thinking. But I just think they balance each other out so well that it's like when you're with Keke, you get this, she's over the top, she's fun, she's overly like excitative. And then you get Daniel Kaluuya and it's a lot more insular and slow-paced that I just think it balances it very well. I could understand if there was 2 Keke Palmers in this movie. Yeah. It would be incredibly obnoxious, but I mean, for what we get, I think it's incredibly well done. So that's sacrilegious, Rowan.
I'm sorry.
Starting off the Nope review with such a hot take is just, it's terrible.
A diarrhea take, you mean? But
yeah, exactly. Let's back it up a bit because with this movie, it's been a minute since I've watched a Jordan Peele movie. And Us, for me, I'm very conflicted on. Get Out is excellent. But obviously there's still like that was like his first feature directorial debut. So there is like a little bit of like wobbly stuff here and there, mostly with like the Lil Ray Howery character that I don't like a lot of that stuff in there. This was soon as the movie starts. I feel like there's so much intrigue and so much confidence on screen that is incredible. You go from like the gaudy cold open that you're just dropped into it. You have no idea what this is. It seems like it is completely out of context. It's very quick. We move on. Then there's like eerie noises in the sky. There's objects falling. There's like a sudden death that is very unnerving and strange and surreal. And then you get this credit sequence of like this music that is like, I don't know, it's almost like experimental to a certain degree, dollying in on this shot of the jockey on the horse, that when we're watching this, it is just, I feel like I don't know all the strings. I don't know where we're going when you're watching this movie, if it's a first watch, but you feel like, okay, there is like a mastery at work here, or there's some sort of cohesive whole that's being formed here, that when I was watching this movie, even today, because it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, I was just like, damn, Jordan Peele knows what he's doing. Like right off the bat, I was like, this is like incredible work here.
To me, when I think about this movie, I think about, I there's a lot of people that love this movie, but like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I think about other people that maybe aren't as tuned in to maybe movies as we are. They're not talking about movies like almost every week or that kind of thing. Like, I have a lot of people in my life that like just don't vibe with this movie, and I just like, I don't get it. Like, to me, this is like, everything that's already been said. Like, to me, this is like watching like a Hitchcock, or like, especially Nope. Like, I think he's just like, so in control of his craft in this, and like everything has a purpose. Everything is meticulous. This showing, like I said, I've only seen it 2 other times. Like, it was only this showing that I realized that opening shot. Like, I'm like, oh, this is like the inside of the alien.
Yeah.
Like, just totally never clued into that. And it's just like, oh, wow, this actually like just layer upon layer of it. I mean, my most exciting thing about this still from the first time I've seen it is all I'm going to want to talk about this entire episode are the Gordy bits. These still play so good. I have in my notes that I think I would argue that just the Gordy bits, I think, are the best thing Jordan Peele has ever done, and also might be some of the best modern horror ever done.
Yeah. When I was watching it this time, I was like, because everyone's like, oh, it's more of a sci-fi movie than a horror. And I was like, the horror of this movie is literally from that piece. Like, it's fucking terrifying. Like, it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's incredibly unnerving and effective, and where a lot of the violence in it takes place off screen, and the sound design is so well informed, and it just like paints like a harrowing picture of it. That sequence as well in the version I was watching is like one of the few sequences, well, other than in the third act, where it actually uses the full frame like IMAX camera. So it takes up everything. And when you're watching it, it's an inspired choice, because it's obviously just shot on a studio backlot, like it's actually like a set, and it's intentionally meant to be a set. But it's to go to IMAX camera for like a shot of just a kid underneath the table scared. It's bringing like more gravitas to this moment in the movie, and it's also like one of the points in the movie where if you can understand how Gordy's narrative fits into the narrative with Jean Jacket, which I remember some critics at the time not understanding like how they mesh, it's kind of like the key to unlocking a lot of the movie, like what it's saying about like spectacle and basically the what's called the exploitation of either animals or children or minority groups in cinema and in entertainment, kind of, right? So like that Gordy's home sequence is just so poignant and such a great sequence, but it's also just a damn scary and unnerving sequence, right? Like imagining yourself being like mangled by a chimpanzee when we all know like the strength and the speed and the ferocity at which they have. It is terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought up probably my biggest point of this entire movie is like just this is like a example to me if I ever have to show someone a movie on how sound design can like totally transform a movie or make a movie scary or anything like that, this might be the film to like show examples of that. Even like, you know, other than Gordy, like my favorite scene is like everyone in the digestion of the alien being. Like I remember seeing this in IMAX and just being like, what the fuck? And like on those IMAX speakers, man, like it was so loud and you're so disoriented and you're not really sure what's going on, because at that point we're kind of like, you know, is it a ship? Is it that, you know, what is going on here? And just like, you know, even watching this last night, like I had the headphones on, watching it in 4K. Like, yeah, the sound design is so, just like Gordy, just so terrifying in that, of everyone's screams and confusion, and then just the utter silence. That this movie's so good at using silence also in scenes where I feel like a lesser director would like fill it with some sort of score or like something to be like, we can't have all this like nothingness, but it's really that nothingness that like creates that tension and scare.
Well, it's the nothingness as well as like the open sky, right? Yeah. Like there are lots of shots in this movie where it's just essentially the lower third of the frame is just, you know, shoulders and someone's head, and it's just open sky with clouds, and we're scanning kind of the horizon all the time, like wondering where Jean Jacket, or before we know it's called that, the creature is. And the soundscape is what kind of always tips you off that it's coming, whether or not it's the electronics kind of turning off or the screams getting closer, which is such an inspired choice that when I first saw the movie, I remember it took me like halfway through to figure out like, oh my God, it's like the screams of the people that are inside. It's not just like the sound of it whistling through the wind or, you know, the hum of like an electronic ship or something like that. And once you kind of realize that, it makes it so much, once again, like horrifying as well, because they're alive and being transported around and being digested slowly. And it's just, it's a choice that I could see it being a little bit silly, like when you pitch it in the room of like, oh, you want to hear people screaming as they're flying around in the clouds. But when it's executed on screen and how well done the sound design is, it is just incredibly unnerving the entire time.
Speaking, I'm kind of curious, like how, because I was trying to remember, I should have went back and listened to our Now Slaying, but I know at the time I was kind of like, in terms of the actual like alien in this, I feel like I was kind of mixed on it, that I was like, oh, like it's kind of weird when it opens up and, you know, it's almost like this like cloth material, it's like a quilt floating in the sky, and I just really didn't have an issue with it this viewing. Like I was just like, this is kind of cool because it's nothing, this alien being reacts like nothing I've ever seen before. It's just like such an original concept of an alien, like that you can't even get mad at it.
Piece of gauze floating in the sky.
Yeah,
like it looks like a jellyfish or something, almost like floating in the water.
Yeah, it's like this angelic figure, but jellyfish is the perfect word for it, because when they were kind of coming to figure out how to create this creature, it was a mixture of watching jellyfish. It was a mixture of literally watching like drapes in the wind and how they play. And it was a mixture of, I think, like cross sections of orchids, like flowers. They wanted there to be like this natural construction to it, but it still be like ethereal or otherworldly. And I do agree with you, Rowan. The first time I saw it, it was something that I thought was strange and weird. And I didn't know how I felt about it, despite loving the movie still. But when I watch it, this is something now like a couple years removed. It is something that I think you point to the movie and you say, oh yeah, like that is crazy. Like in the third act, the shot of OJ on the horse with like this crazy like otherworldly being, creature,
When it,
alien in the background unfurled
Yeah.
is incredible. It is like one of the shots from the movie, like that, like people would point to and be like, oh yeah, instantly, that's Nope, right? Like it's a very inspired choice that I think I like it now, like wholeheartedly, especially just because if you go back like 10 minutes before that, you can start to see like the outer exterior kind of breaking down. You can see it kind of starting to billow or kind of almost unravel, where it's not like this hard shell crustacean that, unravels. It's just like almost like this tightly wound exterior that I just think it's interesting. Like it works a little bit better when you're paying close attention, like we can now at home, not in the theater.
Yeah, it's interesting just because that you said, about the jellyfish and like orchids and stuff, because I like this time in particular, I was like, it is very much like studied to be like organic looking.
Absolutely.
Right? Like it starts off and you're like, oh, look, it's a flying saucer, like Area 51. But like it's super organic. And I just think it's like beautiful. And also, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but I was like, oh, it's really cunty when it unfurls. And it looks kind of like Gardevoir from Pokemon.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, was he playing Pokemon at the time? What's his favorite Pokemon? I need to know.
I think a lot of people, when you get to the third act of the movie, or even the reveal that it's actually a creature, there is this natural revulsion of either you're disappointed that it's not a straight up flying saucer movie, we're not going to have grays abducting people, or there's like you lean in, you're like, oh, okay, that's an interesting twist, like where are we going with this? So I can see like if you're not on board with it being a creature, if you're this kind of monster that's just swooping in, eating people and carrying on, like basically like as if they're krill in the ocean, like just inconsequential to this creature, this being moving through, I could see you not being on board. But I remember like when I watched it originally, I was kind of shocked that was the revelation, because all of the marketing was pointing towards this being like a typical flying saucer movie, and even with kind of like tipping its hat.
Beamed up, right?
Yeah, they like swooped up into the air. Like the trailer literally ends, I think it's on like Keke Palmer getting pulled up by her legs into the sky, and there's also the quick snippets of like those creatures, which winds up being Jupe's children in costume.
Yeah.
But like in the trailer, when it's presented, you see those and you're like, okay, there's Greys in this movie. And then you get the shot of like Gordy's hand and you think once again, that's like the Greys' hands bloodied. So there was all this misdirection that was making you 100% believe it was a typical UFO movie. So to have that subverted and still actually being clever and fully realized and not just like a twist for twist's sake was, I don't know, it was very satisfying to me, especially like when I watch it now. I just think it's a much more inspired choice than being just like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind remake. Yeah,
and like he really plays with the tropes, because like I said, there is the like, the shape of it, and there is it's more organic and natural, the like suction. Right?
Yeah.
But you're still seeing, like, it's still this thing flying in the air and it's still beaming people up. And I just love that he's, like, still using the tropes, but, like, doing it in such a playful way that, like, because he knows he's gonna just fucking pull the rug out from under you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really enjoying, like, playing with the, like, iconic images, the iconery of it, right? Like, oh my God, just what a man.
Yeah, well, and, I was thinking watching this time actually was, I think, it's just every time I rewatch, even Us, which like Colton, I'm also kind of, I feel like that's the mid movie for me, for him. But I'm just like, I can't really think of another director, especially like in kind of modern times, it's like so good in working in these genres and like playing with tropes and expectations and kind of molding them into his vision, but also being able to pull off some of the tropes just in a way he envisions for it to work for him. And I'm like, it's just very interesting how he plays with that. And like you said, Colton, like, instead of this just being like a flying saucer sci-fi movie, he's still able to work this into like an actual, like, straight up horror movie as well. And, like, I just feel like it's really hard to do.
Yeah, or a Western. There's
Yeah,
large
yeah.
swaths of this movie that it's literally a Western. He's shooting these people cowboy style, the way they're framed. The score has straight up like Western music in it, having them galloping on the horses, or, you know, like Keke Palmer near the end, like when she's on the motorcycle. It's basically like the cowboy, like coming back to the town to save the town sort of the thing, right? Like it's a modern.
I mean, it's set on like a
interpretation of it.
ranch, right? Like
exactly, right? Like quite literally, you know, coming back for the final showdown. He plays so well in the genre spaces, but still doesn't lose the horror, which is, you know, Mike didn't specifically say it wasn't a horror movie, but he said a lot of people kind of focus on this as more of like a sci-fi movie or like this big blockbuster action movie. And it's just, I don't know really of a singular image in just like the recent, you know, last 4 or 5 years of horror movies than this ranch house just completely covered in like blood rain, and there's pieces of viscera and carnage and just like devastation raining down on it, that you can take that snippet and then like the big like vacuous hole above it. It looks so otherworldly, like Lovecraftian, like straight up crazy horror.
Yeah.
That when I saw that, I remember I was in awe. And every single time I see the movie, I kind of wonder, like, why isn't there like posters or artwork of like this specific moment? It feels so strongly like evocative horror imagery to me that I wish it was almost like more common or more spread around, because that moment in particular is like, this is fucking straight up horror.
It's very like cosmic horror. Like you made the Lovecraft connection. Yeah. It's like, this is what Color of Night should have been. That one moment.
Color Out of Space.
Or what did I say? Color of Night. That's the Bruce Willis movie. Oops. Yeah. You know what I mean.
Absolutely.
That one.
But yeah, there's definitely moments of horror in this movie. That's like the strongest one for me. Obviously, Gordy's Home. I mean, Gordy's Home is a more effective horror sequence. But I mean, like if you take a still from Gordy's Home, you can find moments in that it doesn't look like a horror sequence, right? Like you would never think that when you're listening to it. You cannot take the shot of the house with the blood raining down and anyone else think it's like, oh, is this a Western? Or like, you know, it's like so horror to me that is just incredible. There's also like sequences in the movie that we already mentioned with the saucer going through the sky, specifically some of the later ones at night where Jean Jacket's starting to get a little bit more aggressive, or like grabs Otis and slams him up against the top of the stable when he's running through it. There's some of those sequences where it literally, I think Jordan Peele did accomplish what he was trying to do, which he said like largely in the marketing, he was trying to do Jaws, but for the sky, right? Where people would be afraid of the sky and wonder if Jean Jacket could come grab them. And I mean, I've never thought about that while walking around, while I'm sure lots of people, when they go to the beach, they still think of Jaws. I think this movie is very effective at using the negative space and the clouds and the open, you know, vast sky where we don't know where Jean Jacket's gonna be, and it's just so effective.
Jogus is back, baby. Jogus is back.
Jogus in the sky. Who would have known?
What a pick this would have been if I actually chose it in August. I never even thought about that.
Well, when Jill is back next year.
There we go. Yeah.
I won't fight you on this one.
Absolutely.
I also couldn't get over too, like, I thought just reflecting on the cast of this, I was like, man, like everyone is like so strong in this. Obviously, this is now our second movie in a row with Michael Wincott.
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is the heartthrob in Curtains.
He had a small role where he had about 4 lines, but we were like, oh, that hot man is Michael Wincott as a little baby.
Yeah, what a connect. And like, he's fantastic in this. Like, I think his character, it's like kind of good, maybe like unintentional comedic relief for I just thought he was really funny, and
that voice he puts on is like brilliant.
Yeah, super self-serious.
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously like another iconic moment is like him singing Purple People Eater in this. But even like I really like Brandon Piera in this as Angel. I thought he's so good in this. He like super funny, you know, just a bad breakup, man. He's just trying to get over this breakup.
And intensely hot, like everybody else in this movie.
Well, Barbie
I'm
Ferreira
gonna try it
too. Yeah, like I didn't even realize that she was in this.
Yeah, going back to Brandon Piera for a second, I'm gonna try not just give little tidbits from the behind the scenes thing, because I watched like an hour long making of. But apparently his audition for the movie was so strong and so different from everybody else auditioning for this role that Jordan Peele had to rewrite the entire movie to make his character kind of resonate a little bit more with what he brought to the actual audition. And Brandon thought it was a reason why he wasn't going to get the role, because Peele was basically telling him that it was so great, but it would be so much work that, you know, he thought it was going in one direction. And then Jordan Peele was like, you know what? It's worth it. So literally they had to do a whole different draft of just punching up his character and making it a little bit more resonant with how he was playing it. That I just think it's great. I really like the character as well. It is definitely the sort of role that you could have it played by like this schlubby dude who is kind of in the movie for 5 minutes to set up cameras, and then he's not in the rest of the movie at all. Yeah. But this character of Angel is great. Like, I love the playing between him and Keke Palmer's character throughout the movie, like the back and forth and the verbal sparring. It's
oh
so
my god,
playful.
the whole time they're in the house screaming at each other while he's out in the van. I'm like, fucking brilliant. I love it. Also, I love that Jordan Peele's like, I'm an actual artist. Like, I'm going to do work to make my movie better. You know, like he knew. He's like, this is going to make this movie better. So I'm going to, you know, do some more work on it.
It's a worthwhile change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you know, obviously, even the small role he's in, I love Keith David in this. Keith David's just good in everything. Like another like horrifying scene, that beginning of like stuff raining down. And
yeah, I glossed over it, but it is such a disconcerting beginning, or like a point in the movie where you just have no idea what's happening at all. It's like, what's raining from the sky? What's happening? The gore of like it's spurting like out of him when he's in the vehicle getting transported to the hospital. Yeah. It's all just very effective. And you know, you would think if you're going to cast Keith David, he'd probably be a little bit more than like basically a glorified cameo in the movie, right? You'd expect at least 10-15 minutes out of the guy.
Well, I kind of thought, I mean, obviously I've seen it, so I knew it wasn't going to come, but like, I was surprised they didn't use a more of that kind of like ghost figure, because they do have the scene where OJ's like kind of like talking to him, like, you know, his ghost or whatever. He's just talking to himself. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, to me, maybe they could have used Keith David a little more in that, of like, you know, maybe he talks to his dad more than we know he does. The only other one I really noticed was like just kind of like side people was like, when I first saw this, not realizing the director was Osgood Perkins in this.
Okay, I was gonna point that out as well, because there's been this online rhetoric of the new masters of horror, right? Yeah. And I don't like some of Osgood Perkins' stuff, and I disagree with some of the picks. But either way, when I was watching this movie, within about 20 minutes, well, less than that, about 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, now Jordan Peele is in a different echelon than these other few that they keep throwing out with him. But then I thought it was very funny to see fucking Osgood Perkins like in the movie as the director of this, you know, this commercial. I thought it was great just seeing him for like a quick moment. It's very cute.
My first note actually was Donna Mills! ! Which means nothing to most people, because she's the blonde lady in that scene, the actress, and she's from Knots Landing, which is a fucking nighttime soap opera from the 80s. But I'm like Jordan Peele is like Rob Zombie in that he has an encyclopedic knowledge of like pop culture, and he will, these tiny roles are always going to be somebody from something.
Is that the one who almost gets decapitated by the horse? Like the one that has like a visible reaction to his name being OJ? Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I was fully like, oh my god, are they gonna like take her robe off and just have her like fully naked? They did not. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie.
And, you know, I already know, like I said, I'm sorry I said all that about Keke Palmer. But then obviously, like, to me, the two standouts of the movie are Daniel Kaluuya and Steven Yeun in this. Like, I think they're so good in this. I mean, obviously, Daniel Kaluuya is just, I can't really think of anything he's bad in that I ever see him in. Yeah, I was trying to think. I can't think of anything. Like, it's such a muted performance, but it's so strong. And that's
why I think it's crazy to call it his movie. This is definitely Keke Palmer's movie, 100%. It's her movie. But I do agree that obviously Daniel Kaluuya is great in it, and Steven Yeun is as well, even if when he was kind of doing the talking head interviews of his character, he's very much an actor's actor who like thought that his character is like by far the most important and the most complicated and like this very hard character to crack. Where I was like, all right, I understand you got some trauma for the character to deal into, but you are kind of like the asshole capitalist for a good portion of this movie. I don't know if it's the most complex movie villain or character ever brought to screen like you might think it is.
To me, I think that's funny because I don't think it's very like complex. I just thought he was pretty good as this like, yeah, like you said, like this capitalist that's like, you know, capitalized on this traumatic experience. It's not only like his, but
yeah. And he still desperately wants everybody to like him though.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like kind of sad, yeah.
I just think like the performance from Daniel Kaluuya's OJ is like, it's so ingenious too because like you said, not only are we like working this horror and sci-fi movie together, but like there's this big inspiration of Western throughout it, and like the character of OJ is such a like a Western character. Like he's silent, he's like stoic and silent, like really kind of like that, like, you know, like 70s Clint Eastwood, like I just think, you know, man with no name type of thing. And I was just like, he plays it so well. Yeah, I just fantastic. Sorry, Kiki Palmer again.
You need to keep apologizing. I'm sorry.
I keep thinking to myself, this might be the worst movie that Jill has ever missed. Because, like, this is just ripe with theme corner, is it not? Like,
yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, there's so many things that Peele has said it's about that he has stayed mute about, that, like, people are pulling out of it. This is just made for Jill.
Yeah, I mean, if Jill's not here, I mean, obviously, you know, as I already mentioned earlier, it's the main thing is like spectacle is the word he keeps using, is that it's a theme of spectacle, the pursuit of a spectacle, like how much we'll exploit everything, how we'll excuse everything if there's basically a large scale distraction or something to distract our, you know, our attention, distract us. But also like the exploitation in pursuit of that spectacle, which, you know, obviously it's in this movie, it's like overreaching into the film industry, the history of film. Basically a lot of animals or children or minority groups basically not getting their due or being mistreated throughout the creation of art and film and spectacle. But I think for the movie, it is a little bit more complex than I expected. Like when I went into this movie, instantly I was like, okay, it's Jordan Peele. It's going to have something to do with race. We're starting off the movie with a chimpanzee. We're starting off, after that, we're seeing the imagery, not only just like the black-owned family farm, but we're seeing the black jockey on the horse. And I think it's interesting that he strived for other, or more than just like racial iconography or like a theme of that, where his whole thing was spectacle and exploitation in general. Was kind of what he was going at. That I think it's interesting. It's definitely more complex than what I thought going in. But I still think there is probably some racial strings you can pull at if you wanted to for the movie for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think we kind of like, I remember I think we kind of talked about that too in the Now Slaying thing. Where I know, like, when I watched it, the first thing I gravitated to, because I remember seeing interviews with him, kind of the lead up, and then a little shortly after the movie. Like, I know he said that he was also thinking about a lot of like environmentalism and like how we treat animals and, you know, our surroundings and stuff. But I remember the big thing I had connected, especially with spectacle and the Gordy segments, was even when Jupe is like talking to Kiki Palmer's character about like the show. What was the show called? Like Hey Gordy or something like that.
Gordy's Home, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gordy's Home.
Yes, yeah.
But like, yeah, there was just like, I guess maybe subtle if you're not looking for them, or not so subtle things where like the comparison of the chimp and, you know, like you said, so much of like the history of movies where I started thinking about like King Kong and you know, like the representation of black people used, you know, apes used to represent black people in film, especially way back then. And as well, you know, he's talking about like, oh, you know, like every time we say, you know, the word jungle about his home, like he was breaking more and more. And then obviously, you know, those are like old racist tropes of black people, of, you know, saying, oh, go back to the jungle, like that kind of thing. Like, but like you said, I just think it's so interesting that he intertwines all these things you can pull out of it. And I've always respected Peele on the fact that I think he's very good at kind of the over your head stuff. He's like, yeah, you know, I was thinking about this stuff. But I find he never, like, even in the press afterwards, it like he never like overly explains stuff and still allows you to pull other stuff out of it.
Yeah, like I think that Gordy's home sequence, like once again, I called it kind of like the secret to unlocking the movie or the theme, and it's not that deep, but I like the sequence where essentially right at the end where it's Gordy and he's coming over to Jupe, and there's essentially this kinship where you don't know if, you know, Gordy's going to attack him, or is it like Gordy sees that similarly like Jupe is being exploited the same way he's being exploited as a childhood actor, but also being, you know, we know that he was like the token Asian kid in this, you know, this cowboy show, and now he's basically the token Asian kid in this sitcom. And it's essentially, there's this idea of him being exploited for entertainment and spectacle similar to Gordy as an animal that I really enjoy about that sequence as well. That I think that explosive fist bump that in that sequence ends quite explosive and, you know, an explosion of gore and viscera. I just think it's a more thematically charged sequence than you might think of otherwise.
Well, it's funny because they mention numerous times the, like, you know, what do? You come to an understanding with them. Yeah. And, you know, that's what happens there. Like, they have an understanding, even if you only see it for like a split second. And you know, it's also funny because they mention, and it only got mentioned once and it kind of like slips by, but you know, he goes Siegfried and Roy, which is very similar. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that Jupe character, I did poke fun at Steven Yeun kind of overly making the character more complex, but I do think it's interesting how that character, who was making, obviously he was a childhood actor that probably his whole life fell apart after that instance, but he still had this inescapable lifelong trauma that vastly impacted his career, impacted his person so much that it's the only thing that he can do as an adult is that he basically has to embrace that, commodify it, sell that, and that this whole kind of fiction, this whole world that he built is on the backbone of the project that he was successful before Gordy's Home. It's that old that Western show that basically he was happy working in, and that's where he initially got fame. He does have the Gordy's Home stuff like tucked away in the back, but it's almost like going back to fonder times, you know, better times.
It's like
before
the last time he was happy or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that a lot of that stuff is pretty interesting as well. Also, the bad miracle, you know, like what's a bad miracle? And there's a couple bad miracles in the movie, but that shoe stood upright with the one drop of blood on it. It's such an interesting thing that I love that the kid is hyper fixated on it in the scene. You don't know if it's actually real. You don't know if it's a weird glitch in the Matrix sort of thing, like happenstance that is like, how is this unnaturally in this position? I love that detail. It's just this weird, surreal, you know, thing that I think is great. It's similar to like the bad miracle that, you know, kills Otis Sr. in the beginning, where it's just this freak accident that I like these little details in it. That shoe with the single drop of blood is such an inspired choice.
Yeah, and it's preserved like a real miracle, even in the upright position in the shrine, the church, right?
Exactly.
Like the church to that incident. You know, it's like you would a fucking, you know,
a sacred object.
Yeah.
Sacred skull or something.
Yeah.
All I know is that you know, next month when I'm in Newfoundland, I hope we can blow out a poster picture of the three of us doing an explosive hand bomb, so it can be the first three-way explosive hand bomb, and we'll sell prints, and we'll become rich.
Just put it on as a new T-shirt design.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. Perfect.
Or a tote bag if that's your thing.
I have a bunch of little notes, but it's like, I don't know, like, is it going to take up much time? I love when the brother and sister, when they slap their hands together when they're so excited. That's like a great little scene in the movie. I love the Scorpion King note where essentially it's this traumatic moment for Emerald where she didn't get to train her horse Jean Jacket, and he talks about, you know, they used camels and Scorpion King was kind of shitty anyways, and then he brings out the fucking Scorpion King crew hoodie in the third act.
I want that. That's such a tough sweater.
Yeah, that's so good.
I would buy it 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I love Oprah. You know, in the movie where they keep referencing fucking Oprah and, you know, the Oprah shot. I just think it's such a, like, once again, it's an inspired kind of funny choice that everyone understands.
She's like the ultimate of like aspirational, you know, icon.
Exactly. I absolutely love that in the movie. Any gripes with the movie? Any things you guys don't really like? Rowan doesn't like Keke Palmer. I don't know. Is there anything?
But this is a really weird movie where, like, I don't like Keke Palmer, like, literally in anything I see Keke Palmer in, but she takes this movie down 0% for me. Like, it doesn't affect how I like this movie, even though I can't stand her. Like, I live with it, and I'm like I said, maybe it is because I'm like, oh, like, the annoying sibling, like, yeah, like, I guess she plays one very well. And, you know, I do like some of the interaction with OJ, you know, even like the simple stuff, like when they're in the house and, you know, the dad's passed away for 6 months now, so they're like, oh, we're gonna raid like his liquor cabinet, and they're like going through his records. And I mean, that's another part we didn't even talk about with the sound design, like so much of the, not just like the power going out, but like the slowing down the music.
I wear my sunglasses at night. That whole sequence is
so listen, good. My note when that was happening was that I invented slowed-in reverb. First of all, he owes me a check. I invented slowed-in reverb by back in the day when vinyl was literally out of style and nobody would listen to it or buy it, and you could like literally go and buy a fucking Beatles mint album for like 10 cents because you couldn't give it away. And I had some records in a record player, and at parties I used to play What Have You Done For Me Lately or Nasty by Janet Jackson on 12-inch vinyl and play it at the wrong speed, and everybody loved it.
So you're basically
just saying,
you're like you know, like Paul Wall, you're like chopped and screwed Southern hip hop.
Yes, yeah, I invented it.
Yeah, it was invented in Newfoundland actually. Yeah, and I mean this is kind of like obviously not on Get Out, but I feel like we'll see with the next movie, like, is this kind of one of his calling cards? Because obviously he did the same kind of thing in Us with
I got 5
on it, the Loonies, and it's just effective. I mean, like, slow down music. I don't know why this, especially in this, I don't know why, but my mind, whenever I think about music played like this, it automatically goes to Moonlight, because they do like the chop.
I was going to say Moonlight is my favorite example because every song in it, except for like one, is chopped and screwed.
God, Moonlight's so good. Really, like, kind of the only note I've got here that we haven't kind of brushed on is I was curious you guys thought of the ending, you know, after Kiki's, you know, taking the picture with that giant camera, the old well camera.
I love the whole, well, love is too strong a word, because there's some very small points about the movie that I dislike that are kind of around that section. But the moment where essentially Emerald is getting on the motorcycle and OJ's on the other side, and they do the eye point at each other on the other side. It was making me weirdly emotional when I was watching it. I know the final outcome of the movie, but I was like, this is powerful with like the you know, obviously the callback to earlier in the movie and the music swelling, and obviously we're assuming he's gonna die in this, you know, leading Jean Jacket in the other direction, and also just like how energetic that scene of Emerald flying on the motorcycle to doing like the Akira anime slide on the motorcycle into the western town. It's such a great kind of coda to this movie. It's like so epic and operatic, and I love it. And the Oprah shot, absolutely. I think it's so good. I watching it this time, obviously there's the one-eyed, one-horned flying people eater, purple people eater, whatever
purple
it is.
People eater.
Yeah. Where obviously everyone, when they're watching the movie, we assume that's Jean Jacket, right? Like everyone is like, that's Jean Jacket. But I thought it was interesting that Jupe flying up into the air, the inflatable version of him, he has only one eye and he has his finger stuck out like a horn, like a gun, and he's the one that takes out Jean Jacket. And obviously just capitalism and the way he is a people eater in his own right. So I like that ending. I thought it's so fun and playful seeing that big inflatable mascot kind of peek above the clouds.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect ending to the movie. It has that like playfulness to it, kind of like the inflatable, flailing arm tube men in the movie, which is such a good visual indicator of where Jean Jacket is for that sequence of the movie. That the ending, that like last 10 minutes works like perfectly for me. I love the Oprah shot, and I still love Out Yonder. A lot of people have issue with like that character survives, or we assume he survives, or
I was gonna say we had that conversation in Now Slaying. We've got Mike here. Mike, we need your opinion on this, because I didn't believe he was still alive. OJ surviving. Because I was like, is he just kind of a specter ghost, just like their dad was for OJ? I had presented that, I kind of thought like it's like foggy, it's kind of got this like, it's like a wink of like, I'm with you, but I'm dead kind of thing. But I feel like most people are like, no, he just survived, and it's like the Western hero, coming back when you thought he was gone.
No, I don't know, because it's like they maintain their distance, and he's still on the outside of the boundary, the other side of the gate, right? So I think that's fairly obvious imagery that he is no longer of this world. Okay.
I'm mixed on it. But you know what?
I mean, I don't know. Like,
I'm mixed on it. I don't know which way I lean. I don't really care. I think it's still an emotionally effective movie.
Either way, I enjoy it,
Yeah, like, basically, there's a moment with her character where it seems like she's almost like praying or like wishing he was there, and then he appears. And the way the music is, it's like so triumphant that it does seem like it's basically the old cowboy like coming back to town, and he actually pulled it off. He is alive. But I can completely understand that it's ghostly, or she was imagining him, especially with all the fog and whatnot. But either way, she believes he's there or is happy to see him again. And I think it's an emotionally effective note to end the movie on.
I mean, listen, I think that it doesn't affect the movie's power one way or the other. I think no matter how you slice it, it's still just like I said, like a perfect ending.
Yeah, and I think it's intentionally ambiguous as well.
Ambiguous, yeah.
Yeah. I will say quickly, 2 gripes, and it doesn't really impact my rating of the movie or anything too much. I still think this is a great movie. I'm not sure how I feel about TMZ showing up. I think that character, when he shows up, it's just like the dialogue and the treatment of that, and the fact that he's wearing all reflective stuff. It feels a little strange to me, I find, when he rides in. Although I do really like the electric bike going against the electric force field. So, I mean, maybe I just would have tried to figure out some other way to do that.
I thought he was going to have a little bit more, like, plot machinations, but anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a red shirt that comes in. Basically, his plot machination is to get a bike there for her to ride away on.
Yeah, I always got the feeling, even the first time I watched this, like, I liked it, but I felt like it was a totally different tone out of a different movie. Yeah. Like, when he shows up, to me, I'm like, this seems like it's out of, like, Cosmos Panos movie. Like, it's like a totally different kind of sci-fi going on here. Just his look and the vibe, like even the voice coming out of the helmet and stuff. And I like it. But yeah, I can see where I'm like, it's just kind of weird, but you know what? Let your freak flag fly, I guess.
Yeah, and the cinematographer, I do like him for 90% of the movie when he's in there. I think he's a very good, pretentious cinematographer. His voice is gravelly. It's perfect. It sounds like he smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I think the moment at which when he gets obsessed with Magic Hour and just, he's like, I gotta climb the mountain, and goes up, and it's kind of... he gets eaten by Jean Jacket. I think that moment for me is just like a little much of a step too far for him that I find a little bit silly when I'm watching the movie. But I mean, those are pretty minor things. This is like a 2-hour, 10-minute movie, and it's like 2 little choices, I think, is like, well, didn't like that. But the rest of it is so damn competent and so good.
Well, with that, are you guys good to land the UFO?
Absolutely.
So if you're new to the podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. I thought we'd do it a little different. So I'm going to leave this spot blank and let Jill come in on this spot.
Wow.
So we won't know what she says.
Hey, Horror Hounds. This is Jill. As you may have noticed, I am not on this episode. So sad I couldn't make it because I really do love Jordan Peele and definitely love Nope. I think it is my second favorite Jordan Peele movie after Get Out, which we covered on the podcast. So for me, Nope is going to get a slay. I loved everything about it. It is so unique. As a horror film, I love the Black cultural aspects, especially the part where the family owns this business. I thought that was cool. I think the stuff with the monkey was horrific. I like the ranch and kind of the fairground or whatever it was. And there were some parts that were truly terrifying, like with the house and not knowing what was happening. I think the creature itself was really interesting, very Lovecraftian. I love the design of it. And I don't know, it's just a good movie all around. I've seen it several times. I saw it when it was in the theater. I think I saw it a couple of times after that. So yeah, it's a banger. It's a slay. Can't wait to hear what you guys have discussed about it.
I can't believe she gave it a nay.
Yeah, so now that we're back, I can't believe. I can't believe a nay, and she said there's not enough white people in this. That is so Oof, Jill.
Jill, how could you?
How could you say this? Anyway, Colton, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, I think 3 years ago when I reviewed this movie, I was so excited. I was basically like, yes, this is the easiest slay I've given in years. And basically, I still feel that way. I still think this is an excellent movie. I texted Rowan when I was 20 or 30 minutes in, and I said, this is a banger, or this is fire. This movie is so good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I only have a couple days off. When I had to watch a 2.5 hour movie this afternoon, I was thinking, I only have a couple hours left of freedom, and then I got to record it. I wasn't looking forward to it too much. It took 5 minutes, and I was completely into this. I said, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't watched it in a couple years. This is so entertaining. I think the way that Jordan Peele mends genres is most filmmakers can't do it. It's too clunky. I thought the creativity here is just boundless. I think the scale, the scope, how epic it is, I enjoy it. The horror imagery is great. Gordy's home sequence is great. I think the actors are all great. This is an easy slay for me. I think Jordan Peele created a spectacle, and I love watching it, and it's an excellent movie. Definitely a slay for me. Mike, we already know Rowan's opinion, or at least from 3 years ago. Where are you coming in on Nope?
Obviously, I'm also giving it a slay. I know I've been slaying a lot lately, but I can't help it. We've been watching some good movies.
Yeah.
There are times when we'll go months and I'll just be like, I hate everything. It's that was mid. But no, I think this is a slay. I think everything about it is very meticulously crafted. Obviously the direction, the cinematography, the lighting is beautiful, the sets, the soundtrack is insane, the cast is insane, the sound design. I just think it's one of those movies that you could... Okay, so it's funny because back when Criterion first started putting DVDs out, when they put out Steven Soderbergh's Traffic, it was a deluxe 2-disc set, and I remember because I bought it, and it was very expensive. But I can't remember if it was Criterion themselves marketing it this way or all the critics and stuff, but it was being touted as film school in a box because there was all sorts of extras on it, getting into the casting and the writing and the screenplay and the blah blah blah. I think that you could do this as film school in a box because every element of it is so well done and it works perfectly together, and I just think that he's a master. And also, everybody in this movie is so goddamn hot that I cannot take my eyes off the screen. And I'm sorry, that counts for a lot. I love watching a movie with ugly people in it, but I fucking love watching a movie with hot people in it, and everybody in this is hot, so it's a total slay. banger. Row. Just get it over with.
So I went back, I looked. When we did the Now Slain on this, I gave this a yay. I feel like
really? I thought it was a dual slay. I was wrong.
It was a yay. I think I was apprehensive on it simply for the fact that at the time, I think I still had enjoyed Get Out a little better than this. And, I was still processing. But yeah, I think I'm going to change it because to me, it's going to also get a slay because you got to give 3 slays when... The boys. That's right. When we get together, we got to slay it. And I'll be if Jill slays this in her message she sends us later, it will be unanimous. I think that's been a long time. Yeah. So I mean, if you're listening to this, you've already heard that. So she may have just really made this episode amazing, or she just really brought the temperature down. And there's probably calls for her to just step down from the podcast and retreat into nothingness. But I really enjoyed it this time around. I like it more and more every time I see it. Like I said, even my hate of Keke Palmer cannot make me hate this movie. Like, it's a nothing burger to me. Just even the Gordy stuff alone. I like the Gordy stuff and that inside shot of the alien, people being digested enough. Like, those are just, like, so good. And now that I really reflect on it, that stuff is better than, I personally think maybe better than anything in Get Out. Like, I just think it's so effective. It's been so interesting watching him perfect his craft and just, actually really become like, it's pretty safe to say he's like the master of horror right now. So yeah, slay. So 3 slays and whatever Jill gave it.
Hopefully 4 slays.
Hopefully 4 slays. So we told you what we thought about the film, and we asked what you thought about it, and we actually, I think, only got one answer on that. I feel like this is almost... God. Yeah, this is very... Oh, no, you know what? Maybe I think we got 2 answers on it. You know what? It's kind of interesting, because I feel like these, like, big picks never get it, but Mike's picks that no one's ever heard of, just like people flock to.
People have thoughts, okay?
I will say Mike's picks always do really well on YouTube as well. We'll pick something big that we're all like, oh yeah, everyone's going to watch that. And then Mike will pick something obscure. I've never heard of it. You can only watch it on a sketcy streaming site. It'll do 3 times the amount of views, if not 10 times.
So James wrote in and said, have not seen this yet, and I'm not sure if I want to. So
oh my God.
We're just telling you to watch it. Yeah, James, just watch it. Just watch it, man. It's good. It's really good. You won't regret it. It's fantastic. And then Heather Duncan wrote and said, it was okay. Not a fan.
I love that the fan write-ins are just bringing us down right at the end of the episode. We're gonna hear Nicholas and he's gonna come in with like, it was all right. It's okay.
I'd give it an A. Yeah, so, a little tepid there, but you can't win them all. It's still a slay here. We're still upbeat here. We still love it. But with that, let's go over to the horrific hotline. Nicholas is called in, so let's see what his thoughts are about Nope.
Okay, and we are back on track with the great picks after I didn't enjoy Curtains all too much, because Nope is, again, a movie I really much enjoyed. Of Jordan Peele's 3 movies so far, I think it is the weakest.
Oh. No!
That is a bit unfair calling it the weakest compared to the other 2 movies, because it is, in my opinion, still a great movie. And probably a weak slay. So not a strong slay as Get Out and still, I really enjoy this movie. It has this weird mix of, kind of an adventurous plotline, but also some very horrific scenes, especially towards the middle when Jupe's show gets kind of attacked, and later on when the UFO/alien creature is above the house during the rain and all the metal comes out. There's so many great scenes in this movie. There's so many thematic elements, which I'm sure at least Jill is gonna go wild about.
We
and
wish.
probably Colton too. So really looking forward to hearing that, and I'm not gonna name them all now because I think we've all heard them by now, but it is an interesting movie. It has a lot to offer for those who want to get into the themes, but it also offers a thrilling plotline, some great actors and actresses, some stunning action towards the end, some horrific moments, very limited amount of gore, but the few scenes that are well, not super gory, but they are intense. Some cool misdirections. I really like the scene where the Wajoops kids disguise themselves as aliens in one scene. That really threw a ball at me in the cinema watching it the first time. The scene with the monkey, the flashback. Well, I think it's great. I heard from a lot of people that they thought it was boring or too long.
Oh my God.
I get the criticism. I just personally don't see it like that. So it is a weak slay for me. And I think it's only a weak slay because probably for the pacing reasons that Get Out and Us are both about 20 to 30 minutes shorter than this movie and are more of a breathe than, well, Nope. But it is still a great movie, and I'm really looking forward to whatever is coming next from Jordan Peele.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed that his next movie has been pushed. I think it was supposed to originally be out this Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're a long ways off now.
I'm glad not only did that pushback of Jordan Peele's movie get to disappoint Nicholas, but also I'm so glad Jill was here to give her opinions for you, Nicholas, that you were so looking forward to. We'll have to have a word with her. I will say,
double the disappointment.
In Nicholas's email, the two things he said off to the side to me that I thought was super funny was he said, feels a bit like the 2020's equivalent to Jaws. And also, he said, if I had a minute, Nope and X-Files, would that be the GOAT crossover? Yeah, I say let's do it. Let's, Jordan, I feel like Jordan Peele's there's no way he's on X-Files, guy. So,
100%.
Get him to do, I think they already announced they're doing more X-Files episodes now again. They're going to do like another mini season. So, maybe just get Jordan Peele to come over, do one. He did the Twilight Zone, so why not do some X-Files?
And if you want to be like Nicholas and leave us a voicemail, you can do so by sending it to us at itslayspodcast@gmail.com or messaging us on any of the socials. Send us a voice message and we'll make sure that it makes the air. And if you're not following us already, you can do so at itslayspodcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Slasher, Letterboxd, Threads, Bluesky, TikTok. Basically, if there's a social media, we're probably there at It Slays Podcast. And if you want to help support the show financially, like our horror hounds Holly, Nicholas, Mark, Steven, Dan, Brian, Trevor, James, and Sam, gain access to the Patreon exclusive show Stream Screams hosted by Jill and get episodes of this here main show 48 hours early. Be sure to head on over to patreon.com/itslayspodcast and choose whatever tier works best for you. Rowan, are you going to put on I Wear My Sunglasses at Night on the playlist?
We could do that. Or maybe we just switch the whole playlist and it's just like really rambunctious Western music.
Oh, okay. There you go. Ecstasy of Gold, some Morricone on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could have some Sunglasses Night. It might already even be there from when we did the Now Slain. So I'll double check it tonight, and if it's not there, I'll add it. Well, and you can find out if I did by going to Spotify, looking up the It Slays Podcast horrific playlist. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of the social media that Colton just mentioned, go in the bio, click the Linktree link, and there's a button that'll take you directly there. We upload scores or licensed music to iconic horror movies we review, or just horror movies we love. It's updated regularly, so follow it. It's pretty much spooky season now, guys, so yeah, follow it, get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? The only last thing I got for promo is we'll be sponsoring. There is a new screening from TerrorVision, October 22nd, Cineplex at Lower Sackville. They are showing the 1996 classic Scream. So be there. I've already given Josh some of the giveaways. I've got more. They will all be in the theme of Scream. So, you'll want to make sure to go if you would like some Scream influence giveaways. But doors open at 6:30. The pre-show and the film start at 7:30. You can get tickets on terrorvision.ca or just go to their Instagram. We follow them. We're always sharing it, at least once a week. So click on there, grab your tickets, come say hello if you see me, and we'll be there. All that is left is to announce the upcoming episode. The pressure was on Mike. I think we all kind of pressured him. We were like, Mike, you're the only pick in October. Because obviously, our last pick of October is always already chosen for us every year. So we're like, the pressure is on you, Mike, to really give us the vibes of October. Am I expecting this to just be about like a haunted dress again or something? Probably. Is it going to be a movie that's set like in the summer or something in summer camp? Maybe also. I like that Mike usually will probably choose something that has nothing to do with Halloween. So we wait in anticipation for your choice, Mike.
Okay, so you, in a way, kind of were right. So, unfortunately, I was making up my mind until about 10 minutes ago. While we were recording this, my brain was still reeling with which of these 80 movies am I going to pick. And I had settled on one that was really not... let's just say it was a typical Mike pick. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm going to file it away for future use.
It was on brand, though.
But it was very on brand, and while I think people would have enjoyed it, I also think that it was just going to be like, oh, okay, here's a Mike pick. So I'm going to go with something that, okay, so it's not exactly seasonally appropriate, but it kind of is because it's really fun and gory, and I think it screams Halloween, even though I guess you could say that it's a summery movie. So we will be... Okay, first of all, I have to say, this movie in some places might be hard to officially get a hold of, but you can find it anywhere online, including archive.org. And if you can't figure it out, DM me. So we are doing, from 1992, the masterpiece from legendary, iconic director Peter Jackson, Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead. So if you can't find it, DM me or go on archive.org.
Colton doesn't look angry, so that's always a plus.
I'm not angry. I'm also happy that it's not as obscure as I thought it was going to be leading into the pick.
I was expecting this 1992 TV movie aired once. Yeah. So, Dead Alive, get that into your eye holes, and we will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully with Jill in hand. So, as always, thank you for all the support. I am your humble host, Rowan.
Bye, it's Mike.
And I'm Colton.
See you later.